Hello, and welcome back to the RichAlvarez channel. What is going to be our very first RichCast, a fun podcast where I talk with guests and we talk about a variety of things. Today, we're going to be talking about our favorite video games and our favorite video games of the year of all time, etc., and etc. In the future, we may talk about things as varied as upcoming announcements, whether that be gaming or movies, or anything that I actually care to talk about. It doesn't matter. This is all for fun. So welcome to the very first RichCast. This is bound to change drastically over time. Anyways, let me introduce my guests today. I have some very lovely guests, including Chris Muller, Faith Allen, Brandon Glazer. Here we go. Why don't you all say hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I thought we were doing it all together.
3, 2, 1, hello. All right, so I'll start with Faith. How are you excited to be on the RichCast today?
How am I excited?
Are you excited?
I am very excited.
Nope.
Good.
Nope.
To see
Hate it.
everyone in chat here.
Brandon, how you feeling? How you doing?
I am. How am I excited? Very, or indeed excited.
Excellent. Chris Muller.
I'm very excited. And I just wanted to say thank you to Brandon and Faith for being down to do this on basically no notice at all. So appreciate that.
Classic Richie fashion. Hey, we're doing this thing. All right, when? Like right now.
20 minutes.
And I wanted to give a quick shout out to our members. So thank you, AK, Killjoy, Kaylin, and Daniel. And if anybody wants to become a member, we got the link in the description below. Support the channel, get access to some emotes. And I think with that, take it away, Rich.
Welcome, everyone. Yeah, I see Brooke. I see Daniel. I see, that's right. I see Jacob Williams, Kaylin DeGusher. I think I saw AK here. Yeah, AK's here. AJ is here. Jay is here. Everybody's here. Welcome, and this will be very interesting. So we do have a specific set of questions that we're all going to ask each other. So I'm actually going to turn it back over to Chris. And Chris, I suggest you start in, I don't know what it looks like on your end, but if it looks anything like mine, it should be counterclockwise, right? So start with Brandon, then Faith, then me.
All right, cool. So
I get to be the first? Great.
Brandon, you get to go first. So with that said, Brandon, what was your first gaming console and what's your favorite memory with that console? And when I said like the one that you owned that was yours.
When I was just a wee little chap, I had a Nintendo Entertainment System. You might have heard of it.
Never heard of it.
And my favorite memory on the Nintendo Entertainment System, I played Mario. I know that fans like that one. But I think my favorite. No, I don't actually. I have no idea. You know, like those early ones, they all blend together for me. I know eventually we had the raccoon suit, so I think that's 2 or 3. So I definitely had. Was that 3? Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. But no, I think my favorite memory was. Well, there was a game I can't remember where you had like a helicopter and you had to rescue people, and there was like a little ladder that the guys would climb up. It was like a military helicopter. I would never remember the name of that game, but if anybody knows in chat, that'd be awesome. You like shoot like and then you could like pick guys up. That like really sticks in my memory, but also the original Star Fox
nice.
Was amazing and just got blown out of the water when I finally got an N64 and played what is the real Star Fox, in my opinion. Yeah, but the first one was awesome. That's probably my favorite game that I played.
All right,
on the NES, definitely.
Killjoy says, I need to make a compilation of all of Brandon's one-lines. I will be quoting them daily.
Wait, did I have a one-liner already?
I didn't catch it.
Clip it. Whatever the lines are, make clips of this and post them on the Discord. Okay. Anything else you wanted to add, Brandon, before
Show me the star facts. That's amazing.
All right.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was saying, did you want to add anything else, or do you feel like you shared everything for that question?
I wish that I could pull up the picture right now that I have of me and my brother. I have one picture of me and my brother playing NES, and my head is enormous because I'm such a little kid. and I like have that stupid awesome rectangular controller. And I'm just like mesmerized by the TV, you know. But no, yeah, that's
all good. All right. So, Faith, same question to you. First console and favorite memory with that console.
Well, and I know you prefaced this with the console had to be like yours. So
we can bend the rules. Like if you didn't actually own it and you played it with somebody else, we don't have to be super strict about it.
So I guess there's sort of a part one and part two. Part one is that, like, in terms of a console that I actually played, we actually really didn't do that much Nintendo in our household growing up, believe it or not. Blasphemy, I know. But what experience we did have in that, my first memory of any video game is watching my brothers play Pokemon on their oh my god,
Game Boy Color.
Yeah, so there's that, but I didn't play that. And then our actual first console that I played on was PS1, and I'm trying to remember the first game that I would have played on there, but similar to my nature today, I often sit and watch other people play video games without always playing video games myself. So I definitely did a lot of watching and not a lot of playing, especially when I was really young. I played a lot of Burnout, though. I really liked the Burnout games. Burnout 2, I think, in particular.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing.
You like how I held up my PlayStation shirt when you mentioned PlayStation? I was like,
I totally missed
Rich was
it.
showing it off. All right.
Yeah,
So,
Killjoy, I wish I could be a PlayStation rep. That would be amazing. Anyways, so now you got to ask me the question, Chris.
All right, Rich. What was your first console, and what was your favorite memory with that console?
My first console would also be an original NES, but I have no favorite memories with it technically, except for like way after the fact. I mean, I love all those old games, but I feel like I didn't gain a true appreciation for gaming until my Super Nintendo, you know, when I, of course, started playing things like Super Mario World and, you know, Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger. That's really kind of like my time, you know. I also have incredible memories with the original PlayStation as well, but it's Super Mario World, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, Super Nintendo, you know, just that was a great time to be alive.
Very nice.
Good time.
Cool. And by the way, guys, if you're watching right now, be sure to give this video a like. We got 15, 16 people watching, only 13 likes. Those are some rookie numbers. Be sure to give your boy Rich a big thumbs up. And it also helps feed the YouTube algorithm because video doesn't exist
Chris,
if it doesn't have likes.
Now it's your turn to be put on the spot uncomfortably.
Yeah.
What was
your
your first console and your associated favorite memories with that?
It was Nintendo 64. That was the first one I owned. And Mario Kart 64 is where I have all my favorite memories just because it was 4-player. Battle mode was really good. And specifically what I liked is I had some neighbors that I would go play with, and like we would try and come up with clever ways to put a spin on like battle mode. So like we would play battle mode where it was like, okay, we're playing block fort, but you're not allowed to go on the bottom level. So let's see who can last like the highest on the top. And if you knock somebody off, even if they don't lose to balloons, they're out. So we'd just come up with like creative ways to make games within the games, but it was fun. N64, cool. Mario Kart for days.
All right. Moving on to the next question. What's the next question, Chris?
Yeah. So this is where they should start to get more interesting. So right to it. Favorite video game of all time and why?
Who starts?
Want to just keep going in the same order?
Yeah, back to Brandon, I think.
I have to be the first every time?
I mean, we don't have to.
I guess you don't have to. I can start.
Okay, go for it.
I mean, it's really easy because I've mentioned it, 12 dozen times on this channel at this point. But, Chrono Trigger, it came out in 1995. It was one of the last games to come out on the Super Nintendo because everybody knew at that point that the Nintendo 64 was just right around the corner. And so people weren't buying Super Nintendos. People weren't really excited about Super Nintendo. By 1995, the original PlayStation had already come out in America. And so people were just kind of waiting for the N64. That's when they decided for some reason to drop Chrono Trigger, which I still believe is at least the greatest role-playing game of all time. It's definitely my favorite game on a personal level. I think it's just gotten an incredibly imaginative story. I love jumping between the different time periods and the different things that you can do there. The character development is excellent. Just all the crazy weird powers and things you can do. And I think it was really the first time I can remember, and I think it was really the first time in a role-playing video game where, depending on what characters were in your party, would change the dynamic and like what magic attacks you could do. Like you could only do crossfire if you had Chrono and Frog in your party, for example, and et cetera. So the amount of customization and everything that you could do was crazy at the time. And also just was a great adventure and an incredible soundtrack. All right, that's all.
All right. Who wants to go next? I can go next if you want me to go next.
Go for
All
it.
right, Chris.
All right. Real simple. Banjo-Kazooie, Nintendo 64. I like it because that was my first 3D platformer. I played that before I played Mario 64, before I played Legend of Zelda. The thing that was fun about that game is there were certain things in the game that you couldn't actually unlock. Like there was like an ice key and there were some secrets that were supposed to be built into the next game, Banjo-Tooie. Long story short, they had something called Stop and Swap where you were going to take your cartridge out and put like another one in, but Nintendo updated the firmware to where it used to keep the save for like 20 seconds and then it got down to like 1 second, so it wasn't feasible. Anyway, because of that, it made lots of like fun rumors on the playground spread around because it was back before you could really like fact check stuff on Wikipedia or Reddit or whatever. So it was fun to play that game just because it was a great game, but also because there were all these like rumors of like, oh, if you do this crazy thing, you might unlock this puzzle, and nothing could unlock it unless you like hack the game. So it was a great fun game, very enjoyable, had like a lot of like of a legacy impact of the rumors. But that was my first platformer, and it was a good time. So Banjo-Kazooie N64.
That's your favorite game of all time?
Favorite game of all time.
Wow.
I know. You're surprised I didn't say Fall Guys.
That's
hours
true.
would reflect otherwise.
They're saying their favorite game of all time is Overwatch 2, a game that hasn't even been released yet.
Overwatch 2's
Well,
out.
haven't they done the beta testing? I think they've already opened up the beta. Yeah.
I thought Overwatch 2 was out.
Is it out? Overwatch 2 is out?
And it's just like the
Fact
same
check.
game with like 2 more maps.
Oh.
Am I crazy?
That's how
Overwatch
that's how
2.
little I've been paying attention to that.
All right, I'll be the Jamie of the podcast. Jamie, look that up. October 4th, 2022 is when it officially launches. But the demo, the beta, they're already beta testing it, so you can play the beta right now.
Got it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Hey, Faith, what's your favorite game of all time?
I know Brandon's gonna know the answer to this, but it's got to be World of Warcraft.
Oh, good choice.
Like, Brandon's like,
Great choice.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I know, right? No, I mean, I first started playing it in either 2005 or 2006. So that was original vanilla. And then I think it was only about a year later that Burning Crusade came out, maybe just a couple of months actually. And I played all through Burning Crusade, played all of Lich King, and then played part of Cataclysm as well. So it was like 2005/6 through 2010 was like every single day doing it. This is not to say that I was good at it, but I did really enjoy it. And certainly the social aspect of the game in terms of being able to have a guild and, you know, be interacting with all those same folks every single day that are logging on was the best part.
Very cool. Stupid Beagle Reviews has super chatted. Thank you, Stupid Beagle Reviews. I still love your name and your picture. Says, my favorite game of all time is Majora's Mask. Congrats on the new podcast, guys. Definitely reminds me of Nerds in the Morning from back in the day. Boy, that's a 12-year-old
throwback.
callback.
But thank you. Appreciate the super chat.
Thank you, Stupid Beagle.
Oh,
and
God.
Faith, do you have a favorite game that is not an MMO? Would you have a second runner-up to World
What
of
else
Warcraft?
is there, Rich?
I don't know. I did play Overwatch like a lot back in the day. So that, in terms of hours, is probably one of the other games that
And
I've spent the
Burnout.
most time in. And Burnout. And Rocket League. Maybe I just like cars. I don't know. I have like I think it's like 170-ish hours in Rocket League at this point. So
Wow.
that should be one of my favorite games. God's
Nice.
sake. Oh, maybe now I'm just going on a tangent here, but maybe why am I forgetting, babe? The Stella on the boat. Spiritfarer
Spiritfarer.
was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Really
There's
good
another
game.
question coming up ahead that you might want to use that answer for.
Yeah, well. Preview.
All right. Brandon, your favorite game?
It's got to be Team Fortress. I'm just joking. Daisy. I saw somebody said Team Fortress. Nacho said Team Fortress favorite FPS. So actually, I got two-part. Single greatest video game ever made is a mod for a game called Arma 2. It was called the DayZ mod, and it is without a doubt my most played game and the most fun I've ever had playing any game ever, and I regret nothing about spending like 7,000 hours playing that game. But that's for online games. For single player games, I think that Fallout 3 would have to take the cake for me. That was a incredibly immersive experience for me at the time. I hadn't played a lot of RPGs, so that one left a huge mark, and I've always loved it ever since for that. But DayZ and Fallout 3 both are kind of, just because they're so different, because there's kind of, when you play by yourself and when you play with other people, you're two very different things. Kind of like Faith's MMO versus Spiritfarer. But yeah,
Right.
I don't think anybody else in here has even played DayZ, right?
I've never played it. No.
Yeah. Well,
Is that
it's a
the one
shame.
where if you lose your item, like if you die, people can take your items, and it can take like hours and days to get it. So it adds stakes. Is that the same game?
Yeah. So you
That sounds
spawned on an island, basically on like the south. I'll do an abbreviated version. On the south side of the map is where the beach is. They call it the shoreline. And you start with a backpack and a bandage. You have nothing. And there's zombies, of course, but zombies are really secondary to how dangerous the players are, because everybody just kills you on sight. And as you work north up the map, the loot gets better and better. So like in tiers. So you could start off by finding like, a little double barrel hunting shotgun down near the shoreline and get yourself like some medical stuff and a can of beans and maybe a slightly bigger backpack. But as you go north, you can start to find like military style weaponry and larger backpacks. And eventually you can get like sniper rifles and a ghillie suit and night vision goggles and rangefinders and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, this takes like, to have the loadout, like the greatest loadout you could possibly have, would take you probably a week of like every day kind of going through and scouring or getting a lucky kill on another player. And so when you have that really good gear and you hear the snaps of bullets over your head, the rush that you get is like, it's the closest thing you could get to simulating actually being terrified for your life. Because you so badly don't want to lose everything, because you lose everything. Your body lays down, they take all your gear. You go back to the shoreline. Now you're a 45-minute walk away from where you died. You can't just walk back and get your gear. So the rush was insane. And we just chased that high over and over and over and over and over again. It was amazing. There's never been an experience like it for me.
That sounds really fun.
dope.
And you did a good job of describing what makes it fun. Now I want to try that out and then hate myself after losing all my gear.
Yeah, it's rough. It's a very steep learning curve. It's super unforgiving.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you, everybody. And by the way, just so we can have people watching engage, real quick, guys, if you're watching right now, put your favorite video game in the comments. Whatever it is, just mention it. And then at some point, Rich, you could just kind of quickly go through just so we can get a vibe of the chat. I imagine a lot of people are going to say Nintendo games, but I'm just kind of curious. So what is your favorite video game? Leave it in the comments below. And while we wait for you guys to type this, we'll move on to our next question. This one should be interesting because I want to hear about games maybe I've never heard of. So the question is this: what is an unknown video game? What's a hidden gem that you've played that maybe not that many people have heard of that you would recommend? So unknown gem of a game that you really liked, and you'd recommend
starts
it
with
to
you,
them.
dude.
I would say that even though people have heard of these games, I would wish for more people to play Fallout New Vegas. Because I saw people like Taco talking about.
Have you heard the unknown gem Fallout New Vegas?
What?
Well, because I see people like
Oh
Taco
my
saying
God.
like Fallout 3 is their favorite.
Oh
And yeah,
my
Fallout
God!
3
Rich is going to
amazing.
take this
I know Brandon
opportunity
said
to
it's one of his favorites,
say that
but-
Fallout Vegas is better than
All
3 when
So-
it's not answering the question at all.
I guess
I
so.
love New Vegas. More people should play it. That's all.
So, Rich, your perspective is that very few people have played New Vegas.
No, I think a lot of people have played New Vegas, but more people have played Fallout 3 and 4, and they should
Oh my
obviously
God.
play New Vegas more.
Oh,
It's okay. It's the
That's
RichCast
all.
show. If Rich
That is my
wants to
only answer to
spin a
that
question and be like,
question.
I'm going to completely ignore what you guys said. Y'all got to play Fallout New Vegas.
oh. Cool story, Brandon. But that game sucks. My game's better.
No, you're absolutely not wrong. When Fallout 3 came out, it was revolutionary, and I could obviously still play Fallout 3 now. It's an amazing game. The only reason I like New Vegas more is because Cowboys.
All right. So, Rich, before we move to the rest of us answering, could you quickly pick, just kind of comb through some of the comments? So this was, I asked people what their favorite games were. Maybe just jump through some that stood out to
Sure,
you.
says Pokemon, Star Wars, Mario Kart.
Nice.
Pac says Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2.
Very interesting. Tim says Minecraft. It's a good one. I've heard of Minecraft. 1S Carf says Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yeah, or the DLC, which is Deluxe. Been playing New Vegas a lot lately. Fun
Hey,
with mods, says
all right,
Nacho
Nacho Taco, you just made Richie's day.
Box says my favorite game is Fall Guys. Lol.
Great suggestion. Great suggestion. All right.
Okay, Brandon, what's a game that you think more people should play?
Cool. Hidden gem that you'd recommend.
I originally was thinking FTL. I don't know. Has anybody here played FTL?
I've never even heard of it. What does that stand for?
What? Okay, because I was going to say this is an incredibly famous game, but that makes it easy. So it stands for Faster Than Light. It's an indie game. They made another game that wasn't as successful, but it used to back in the day when Steam sales were still Steam sales, and they had those flash sales. You guys remember that?
Oh yeah,
So this was before the refund policy came around, and they couldn't do it anymore. But basically, you would vote on 3 games, and every Steam user was allowed to vote. And this was in the middle of the sale, and you could vote on what out of 3 games you want to go on a super sale, and it would go on 90% off or higher, sometimes 95% off. And when Fast and Light would go on sale on the flash sale, it would be $2.50, and I would buy 5 copies and then go through my Steam friends list and find people that didn't own it and just give it to them for Christmas, because it was always during the winter sale. Because I was nobody was playing it, and I thought it was so amazing. Easiest way to explain it is basically if you're looking top down of a spaceship cut in half, so you can see all the rooms, and each room is associated with a subsystem of a doorman. We're doing a podcast. Sorry.
That's all good.
And so each room is a subset or subsystem of the spaceship, and you have different weapons, obviously, and you have to make your way through this kind of map of stars. Oh, there he is. Across the map, and you get encounters with different spaceships and whatnot, and you have to choose which subsystem you want to shoot on the enemy ship, and you have your little guys inside your ship. You have to run around and put out fires and fix your systems, and it's incredibly rewarding. It's so much fun. I imagine there's plenty of people that know what it is. I didn't even look at the comments. Has anybody played FTL? Oh, they say hi, doorman.
Oh yeah, Nacho Taco. Nacho Taco said Faster Than Light is amazing.
Yeah, FTL.
So you got one person.
Oh, he was there. Now he's there. Special shout out to Angel Bunlin, who gave us a super chat, which was a rose.
Here, I'll mute myself.
For some reason, the rose doesn't show up on.
StreamYard doesn't always pull everything
StreamYard.
up. But thank you so much.
Also wanted us to know that he's been a member for 25 months. and said, OMG, it's the A1 Comics and Board Life of Brandon crossover. What's up? Also, Mario Party or Mario Kart for group game night.
Ooh, that's actually a good question.
I feel like most game nights we just play Jackbox.
If I had to pick one, I would say Mario Kart because the rounds are quicker, so you can jump in, play a few battle modes, and bounce. Mario Party is more satisfying, but it's a longer time commitment, especially if you play a board. But both are great party games. Thank you very much, Xander Brow, for being a member.
Faith, do you have, I think you were about to get to it in your last answer, but what is the underrated or unknown game that you wish people would know about?
Well, I'm actually going to switch gears and talk about a little game from PSP. I've never known anybody else who's played it, but maybe it is popular and I just didn't get the memo on it. But it's a Japanese platformer called Loco Roco.
Oh, I've heard of Loco Roco.
I've never heard of that.
But yeah, more people should play.
Oh my god, it's the best.
How's it work?
It's so cute. So picture yourself as a blob, a cute blob with a smiling face. Bingo, sold right there. That's it. But no, as the blob, you have to roll around and eat flowers to grow bigger, and you have to.
What game are we talking about? I'm sorry.
Loco Roco.
Oh my god! Dorman's dogs from his family's dogs, I'm guessing.
One of those was Joey's.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, I will. But
It reminds me of Beautiful Katamari.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
That sounds cool. But yeah, anyway, so as you eat flowers, you're growing into a bigger blob, and then you have to solve puzzles and kind of maneuver yourself accordingly, all the while you're getting bigger and bigger, and so the puzzles gets harder and harder, and enemies get harder and harder to avoid because you're a big, unmanageable blob. But you can break yourself into pieces, basically, in order to kind of funnel through puzzles that require you to be smaller. And yeah, I mean, it's a platformer, and it's so charming and so fun, and nobody says words, which I also think is really charming. They all just make little tiny noises. So that's extra cute. The end.
It was called, so it's Roco? Loco?
Loco Roco.
Loco Roco. That sounds fun.
I'll throw the Wikipedia of it in a chat. It's
Thanks.
super cute. Real gem.
Oh, this looks amazing.
So good. I want to
God,
play
you know what
it
else?
so bad.
Can I give another answer?
Yeah, go for it.
Am I allowed
Okay.
to do that? Did anybody ever play Viva Pinata?
Oh yeah.
Was that Rareware?
I don't know. There's like a cult following of like people that
I've
want them
heard
to
of
make
that.
another one.
I
So it
never
was on the
played it.
Xbox 360.
Yeah, that was
you
Rareware.
literally had like a garden that attracted different types of pinatas, and you had to feed them and get them like plump and filled with candy before you sold them off to like a kids party.
Oh, geez.
It was incredible. They had like all these like different like critters that would come in and like eat the food. So you'd like build stuff to like thwart off stuff that was eating your garden. It was so much fun, and I would die if they made another one.
Man, I remember seeing trailers for that because I think it was shortly after Rareware left Nintendo and joined Xbox, but I never played it. So
Killjoy says I'm sold.
Oh, it is rare. Yeah, it is rare. But yeah, like I think trying to find a copy of it is kind of hard for Xbox. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, $40. We should buy that and play it in the living room at some point.
Very good. All right. And then before I answer my question, so everybody who's watching, if you have a hidden gem of a video game you'd recommend, leave your comments in the live chat. And then after I answer my question, Rich, you can quickly go through them. So for me, the one that I really enjoy is a game called Banished. Have any of you guys heard of Banished? Because I know Lauren played it a
I've heard of
bunch.
Banished.
Brandon, you ever hear of Banished or play Banished?
I have. Yes. I just looked it up, and this is always on my feed, but I've never decided to pull the trigger.
I'll give you the pitch. It's similar in scope to Stardew Valley in the sense that one dude did all the coding. So
Good
he
idea.
made the music, he programmed the game. The reason I heard of it is there's a YouTube and Twitch streamer called Quill18. He's this nerdy guy from Canada that likes to play like simulation games. So he plays all the Civilization games, and he plays a lot of Sim City. So I was following him, watching his Sim City gameplay. And then all of a sudden he recommended this game called Banished. And the premise is you are like a group of settlers that are just thrown out into the wilderness. So it kind of feels like Age of Empires or Sim City in that it's a simulation game, but it's not you versus other players. It's you versus nature. So when the game starts, it's like, how quickly can you build houses before you freeze to death? And then right after that, it's how quickly can you get food? And then right after that, it's how quickly can you start building tools? And it's like, you're constantly trying to outrun starvation and like hypothermia. But once you finally like get good enough to just like stabilize, then you start to expand. You can open up trading posts. You can unlock like, new trees, new agriculture. It's like really, really fun. And like, it's very Zen. Like you just get into the zone and you're like, okay, like how quickly can I go? And you never really like beat the game. You just kind of play till you get bored. Cause there's not like a winning objective. It's just, okay, I guess I've explored the map. I've gotten a ton of resources, but super fun. You can get it on Steam. So Banished, highly recommend it. Came out in 2014.
Okay.
All right. So I asked the chat if any of you guys had hidden gems that you would recommend. Did anybody put any? Oh, there we go.
Killjoy said the PS1 Tarzan games. I don't know.
I never played those.
AJ says Digimon World 4 or Kirby Air Ride.
Nice.
Deguster says Paladins is such a great unknown game, and it's a lot like Overwatch. I recommend. And Minty Dragon had a huge comment. Says Dinosaur Planet. It's an unfinished game that was never released, but a debug build is out there, and it's quite the experience. It was butchered and released as Star Fox Adventures. Yes, that's right. Dinosaur Planet was eventually turned into Star Fox Adventures, but I guess back when it was Dinosaur Planet, it was very different, of course.
Damn, that's a deep cut. That's probably more rare than New Vegas, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Super rare.
Thanks, dude.
All right. We move on. So next up, we're moving to video game music. What is your favorite video game soundtrack? Or if you can't name one, feel free to name a few.
I hate to say it because someone already brought this up when they shouldn't have, but Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
The hidden gem.
Stole the Fallout one, did you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. There's certainly no video game music that I listen to regularly on my Spotify playlist except for Fallout New Vegas songs. Big Iron, all day. I just listened to it this iron, this morning. I listened to it. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Rich, you want to go next?
I mean, I also listen to the New Vegas soundtrack for various reasons all the time as well. So it's kind of hard to not, when something like the New Vegas, of course, a combination of the New Vegas and Fallout 3 soundtracks, really. And, of course, every time we go to Wasteland, it's all we listen to. But like, if we're going to be talking about like an orchestral score, I would say it's got to be somewhere between Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VIII, and Metal Gear Solid 2.
God damn it.
And Rich picks all the good ones.
Were you going to say Metal Gear, Brandon?
Yes.
Damn,
it's okay.
You guys are just stealing all my answers.
Rich is like, let me just take every good video game song ever and list them all. You can still use that if you want it. All right, well, tell you what. While you're thinking, I could
is it my turn?
Oh, you could go.
Oh no, you go because you're going to take my third choice.
All right, so I was thinking about like classic Nintendo games, but as much as I enjoy those, there is one game whose soundtrack really stood out to me and blew me away, and it's the soundtrack for Red Dead Redemption 1. Red Dead 1 has such a good soundtrack, and there's a video on YouTube. If you type in the making of the Red Dead 1 soundtrack, what they did is, of course, this is a Western game. So they went out and they found all these old timers that made music for Westerns in like the 1960s. So these were these like really old guys in like their 70s, 80s, potentially 90s that were still hanging around. And they collected all these instruments that were used back then. So they had like the like these old timey harmonicas. They even had like the what's it called, like the jaw hop, where they have the bow bow bow,
That's
like all those
so
weird
awesome.
things. It was a really cool video, and it made me appreciate it even more because they were like, we want to get these authentic old looking things. They even had like old like saws that they could play like a xylophone to get these weird sounds.
Yeah,
And then they just explained in detail like how they had to create all these strings that could kind of come in and out. I'll have to link the video to you guys, but the Red Dead soundtrack, I would used to listen to it while like driving about, and I could pretend I was a cowboy, even though I wasn't, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
So Red Dead 1, love me
That's
some
amazing.
Western.
I still haven't played either of the Redemptions. I played the original Red Dead Revolver, I think on PlayStation 2, which I guess a lot of people haven't played. The more people I ask, but I've never played Red Dead Redemption, so I definitely need to give those a try at some point.
Highly recommend.
So yeah. Obviously, Fallout, like, of the songs that I listen to repeatedly in real life, not playing a video game, Fallout takes the cake for sure. All of them. I mean, not the old ones, but Fallout 3, New Vegas, and some of Fallout 4. I listen to those songs all the time. And when we go to Wasteland, we play those songs on repeat. We just play the playlist on repeat. So it's definitely the best soundtrack ever. But the Metal Gear Solid games, all of them, even his choice of songs that are not Metal Gear Solid originals, Hideo Kojima's choice of songs, like what's that? The song at the end of Metal Gear Solid 1.
Oh, the best is yet to come.
Yeah. The best is yet to come. Yeah, with the flute and everything. It's so like brings me to tears every time, especially when I just finished the game. Yeah, after you watch whatever one of like 3 different ending scenes, right? I think.
Yep.
And then go ahead.
I was just gonna say that you can't get better than when the game opens up on the PS1. It goes do do
do do do do do. Do. Yeah. So good. Actually, the FTL soundtrack is amazing. Because FTL's like, I don't know what bit, 64-bit, whatever. Like, it's all that like pixel art type. And they have this like really retro 8-bit soundtrack, and it's fantastic. They sold it separately. And I think that was one of the first games on Steam where like you could buy the soundtrack separately, And now that's kind of a popular thing, especially with indie games, is that you can like buy the soundtrack on their own. It's usually in like the dev pack or something like that. FTL soundtrack's incredible. I think when I was thinking about this question, I was thinking about like what song do I like? I'll hear something and it'll remind me of a video game all the time, which is the Halo intro all the time. I'll hear like anything like, oh, and I just think, oh, that's just, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a great video. It's like a little, I don't know if it's a TikTok or it might even be old enough to be a, what was it called? What was TikTok way before TikTok?
Oh, Vine.
Vine.
Yeah.
It might be a Vine of like this dude walking into a bathroom, like a men's bathroom, I think at like a school or a bar. And he just starts going, oh, and the whole bathroom, like all the guys are just like, oh, because they all know the song.
They all know it.
And it's like all echoey because it's inside a bathroom, so it sounds amazing. But yeah, I think that song is like definitely the song of a generation for me, at least my generation. That was a banger.
Amazing.
If I can tag on to that, I just thought I'd mention as a fun anecdote, which of the Zelda games were we listening to the
oh
the
yes, that was actually, I was thinking that too. So yeah, so Ocarina of Time is just obviously so insanely good, playing those stupid, like just the simple chords on the ocarina, and then like the beat comes in and like the full orchestra comes in and plays it. That's an amazing experience when it comes to music and video games. That's definitely got to be on some people's lists. It's Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree with that. I went with Red Dead, but if I didn't pick Red Dead, like Ocarina of Time is so good. There was a period of time where like I got obsessed with video game remixes. There's a website called OC Remix that was popular like 2005 to 2010, and I would go there and I would just look at people making remixes of Ocarina of Time songs, and
so that's why Faith asked the questions, because I was listening to Ocarina of Time remixes in the car while we were driving around.
Nice.
So here's a side question: can we go through everybody but Faith, because I don't think Faith has ever played Ocarina of Time, but favorite Ocarina of Time song?
Ooh, that's good. Hold on, I gotta think about this.
Yeah,
Okay, I got mine.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead.
Song of Storms. I
Yeah.
actually got so into that song, I learned how to play it on the piano, and then never really played the piano again after that.
My favorite Ocarina of Time song is just the opening title song. Yeah,
for sure.
What about you?
Mine is Gerudo Valley. For
Oh,
sure.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yeah. And then the little
Go for it.
like it's like a trumpet that comes in, I think. You know? Yeah. Yeah. It's got the little
so good.
I wanted to point out some of the
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
Special shout out to Richard Humphrey. I know I've been kind of showcasing your comment on the video for the last couple of minutes because you gave a very generous super chat. Says, "What's up? Got to go with Donkey Kong Country for best soundtrack. That is another excellent soundtrack. Very underrated. You know." And then DeGusher asks, "Vine? Question mark?
Oh, that's
I can't tell if
amazing.
he's being sarcastic or serious, but we'll take it seriously.
If you guys don't know what Vine is, you can.
Vine was
if any of you
TikTok
like
before
TikTok, yeah, you should thank Vine. It was ahead of its time. Like, people were like, "No, this is stupid. Nobody wants to watch." They were really restrictive on the time. I think there were 8 seconds.
Yeah. It was super short.
And people were like, "No one wants 8 seconds. That's way too short." And they had, we just didn't know at the time that was what all of social media was going to become.
EDMG says, "Pokemon, the whole franchise. It was the foundation for the kind of gamer I am, and it's the one I can being up to most people to spark conversation." Interesting.
Yeah.
They can bring up, I think, is what they were trying to say.
I think that's probably for favorite game, not soundtrack.
It could be
The
both.
soundtrack is great.
The soundtrack, I mean, yeah.
They get stuck in your head for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And by the way, for anybody watching, leave a comment or a live chat message of what your favorite video game soundtrack is. And then next up, we can go to our next question. All right. So this one will be fun. So we've been talking about favorites of all time. Next question is, what has been your most enjoyable game, or a game that you really got into in the past year or two? I'll stretch it to 2 years. So what's a recent game that you got into that's relatively new that you really enjoyed? And
This
you
is
can
an
mention
easy one.
You can mention more than one if you want, because I know there's been a few good ones.
I haven't played a whole lot of video games. Like, honestly, in the past year and even the past 2 years, if I've played a video game, you've probably watched me play it, because I really only play games when I'm streaming my games these days. I cannot remember the last time I just played a video game that I wasn't streaming. But I would say that probably one of the most fun experiences I've had playing video games in the last year or so has been Sea of Thieves. Honestly, I think that I do have the most fun just playing with all y'all, gathering a bunch of gold and dying in a strange tomb where we can't figure out how to rotate the
We're never looking it up. We are never going to look it up.
That's it. It's Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Very nice. Oh, Rich, we just got another super chat.
Oh, Xanderbrow says, "Genshin Impact, I'm addicted to, and Lego Star Wars." Thank you, Xanderbrow, for your super chat.
Nice. Well, I'll go next. I think you guys know what I'm going to say. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Fall Guys? It is so good. All right. So I know you guys have heard me go on and on about this, but I'll give the pitch. Imagine Mario Party and Fortnite had a baby. That's Fall Guys. I like battle royales, but I suck at like first person shooters. So I've never been able to really get into Fortnite or PUBG or any of those like first-person shooter battle royales. But I played a freaking ton of Mario Party back in the day. So that's why I like Fall Guys, because I can get that fun rush of a battle royale, but it's with like races and platforming and survival. And it's particularly fun to stream because you can open up a lobby and have fans jump in and play with you. So if you haven't played it, highly recommend it. I went through and I bought it for a ton of people. I think I bought it for Brandon. I'm pretty sure I bought it for Garrett. I think I bought it for Richie. Faith, I need to get it for you. It's a super crazy fun game, and I guarantee, like, especially if you're playing with friends and you're like trolling each other, it's highly enjoyable. In fact, I've got a bonus question for you guys at the end that I just thought of related to that, but I'll save that for the end.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's my one I got into. It came out in August of 2020, so it came out within the past 2 years, and then they recently did a relaunch of it, but it's now free to play, so you don't even have to spend money on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was recent, and it's on all platforms now as well. It originally came out on PC and PlayStation, but now you can get it on Nintendo Switch or Xbox. So it's on everything, and it's free.
They must have microtransactions then, yeah.
They do. It got bought out by
the new
Epic
marketing.
Games, the people that run Fortnite.
Great.
And
Great.
it's microtransactions for cosmetics.
Yeah.
So it's if you want costumes, then
I support that business model totally.
exactly. And they don't have loot boxes. It's pure just buy the costume.
Yeah, that's kind of criminal.
Agreed. Anyway, so Rich said Sea of Thieves. I said Fall Guys. Brandon, you want to go next?
Sure. I have 4 answers if that's
okay. This is the part I'm excited about because I've heard a few of the games you got into, and when you get really into a game, I learn about stuff I've never heard of. So
yeah. So I think one's probably pretty popular. I think Jedi Fallen Order came out. This doesn't count because I think it's 3 years old, but I played that more recently. Jedi Fallen Order is insanely good. It's probably the best Star Wars game I've ever played. I love it to death. You just get to be a cool Jedi, and it's very linear, but closed matrix linear. You know, like there's a lot of exploring the galaxy you get to do, but the maps are ever so slightly sandboxy, and the progression's really cool. And you know, it's one of those games where you start out being really bad, and then, you know, by the second half of the game, you kind of feel like a Jedi because you're like really good and you're doing all these cool moves, and it feels very cinematic. Being able to play through it, which, like, I think a lot of Star Wars games, let's be real, we want to play with a sword, a lightsaber, and we want to feel like a Jedi. And I think that they like nailed it perfectly in that game. The other one was Satisfactory. Does anybody know? Have you guys played Satisfactory? Oh, dude. So it's like a factory building game, which sounds so dumb, but it's so awesome. Like, it's really
like Factorio or
whatever? It's exactly like Factorio, except it's first person and the graphics are good. Like,
okay.
Yeah, it's insane. And you'd think it'd just be a buggy disaster, but it actually works because these factories get so crazy, and it's kind of silly. The progression is just like you're only progressing and getting better tech to make a better factory, to make better tech to make a better factory, you know? So by the end of it, you're kind of like,
nice.
Okay, now what? You know, but you know, if you're not into just like making your factory look cool, which is like what a lot of people do in the end game, because it's like there's nothing else you can. Eventually, you make like basically like the Large Hadron Collider. Like you make a particle collider. It's incredible. Just put it that way. There's like conveyor belts going everywhere, and you have to optimize everything and gather resources. And you know, you build like these big drills that pull the resource up and then feed it into a machine that uses that resource to make, you know, the bolts, right? And then the bolts come feeding out of that, and they feed into another machine that has another machine that's feeding the thing that you're going to use the bolts and that to make a new part that comes out of that machine, which you needed like that part to go into another machine, which now like 12 other machines are building stuff to put it in just so you can get like a computer, which you're going to use to build like a car. You know, it's so crazy. Like the funneling down of this network of all these little conveyor belts into the thing that you're trying to build. And when it's not working, like you look at the end state and you're like, why are we only producing one every hour? You know, and you go back and you're like, okay, everything's producing right here. And you find out that like, you know, the 3 machines you have that are making screws that's just not enough. You need like 5 times that many, you know? So you have to like find where the issue is. And then you end up with all these power issues because everything takes power and you have to build more generators. It's amazing. It's amazing. Check it out. It's really pretty too. It's a super beautiful game.
What was the name of that one again?
That one's called Satisfactory.
Satisfactory. Okay, that sounds really fun. I want to check that out.
It's incredible multiplayer as well.
So
V Rising.
I was about to ask because I know you were telling me
Yeah.
how fun that was. So give the pitch for people who have never played it.
So it's another survival sandbox game. You know, just the same thing that a lot of these games that are coming out lately are, but you're a vampire, which is super weird and different. It's a lot like Valheim, if anybody's ever played Valheim.
Oh, that was so fun.
Yeah. But it's a top-down isometric view instead of just standard third person. And, you know, you're a vampire and you get to play with your friends. You're all vampires, just kind of like raiding villages and like killing innocent people, which is like weird, but it's really fun, oddly enough. And you have to feed on people to like, you know, maintain your blood or whatever. And you have to gather resources and build like your cool vampire castle. And you have to build your different benches that you can, you know, use to build the different types of gear. And you have to gather the more and more rare resources to build the cooler and cooler gear. It's just like Valheim, you have to find where like the bosses are basically, and the bosses get progressively more difficult, and the bosses unlock new powers. It's kind of got like a Diablo feel to it, where the powers you get to pick and choose what powers you want to use, and they're kind of like in your either 1, 2, 3, 4 or QWER setting, you know, just like in a Diablo game. And so you're not just like running and slashing. Like it's not just like a hack and slash. Like you're actually using abilities, and you can like, you know, you have defensive abilities, not offensive abilities, and abilities that can heal you and your friends. It's fantastic. Highly recommended. And it's pretty fleshed out for such an early game. It came out of nowhere. Came out of absolute nowhere. It was just like V Rising. And then like, I was like, no, that looks weird. Vampires, you know, like survival sandbox. And then all my friends were like, have you tried this game yet? You know? So we got into it really quick.
Now, is that the one where like it's sort of like Minecraft where you have to have custom servers or something if you want to play with people, or how does that work?
Well, it's actually, so there's 2 different types of servers. You can make your own personal server, and that means you would have, like, if your friends wanted to play with you, they could only play if you're online. So what we did was we went through a third-party company that puts up a dedicated server for you so that anybody could log on at any time and get into the server. I think it costs like $14 a month or something like that. We've done that for a lot of other games. We had to do that for Valheim too, because you don't want to have to wait until one friend is on so that the other 5 people that want to play can play. And you don't want to have to force them to like leave their computer on. Not to mention, if they leave their computer on, they're like their characters in game, like running out of blood and whatnot. And so, but the other way that you play that game is you go into a server with other teams of vampires. And so you can raid each other's base. Well, that is not what we did. And my understanding from the internet is that it's very cutthroat and maybe less fun if you don't just like no life it, you know, if you're not just like on 24 hours a day, because people can just raid your base and take everything and then grief you. So that's not the way I played it. So I have no idea. I imagine experiences may vary if you go that route. But the last one I wanted to mention, because this is an absolutely amazing game, is Outer Wilds.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
Never heard of Outer Wilds, Richie?
Oh, I've heard of Outer Wilds, yeah.
So not Outer Worlds.
Oh, I know Outer Wilds.
Yeah. Which is funny because they came out around the same time, and so they had like kind of branding issues because people get them mixed up. I still get them mixed up every time. I'm like, wait, which one is that one? Is it the one? Because they're both in space, but they're very different games. I mean, Outer Worlds is that like definitely kind of definitely not kind of inspired by Fallout in space.
Oh, it's Fallout in space, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Outer Wilds is an exploration sandbox puzzle game, Groundhog Day in space, and there's not combat. It's really just racing against time to try to figure out what's going on in the story and slowly revealing more and more story elements. But it's like the soundtrack. I probably should have mentioned this in the soundtrack portion. Like the soundtrack is amazing. There's music kind of ties into a lot of the ways to solve the puzzles, and it's Groundhog Day in that you have 22 minutes until the sun goes supernova and you wake back up where you started. And so you have to do everything over again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but so the whole time you're trying to do puzzles and solve these problems, you know that eventually the sun's going to go supernova again. And you can hear it no matter where you are. You can hear the explosion. So even if you're like really far away from the sun, you hear it and you're like, oh shit, here it comes. And you can, if you're out in space, you can see the blue coming towards you, and you get enveloped and you die again. And you just keep waking up and waking up and waking up and having to go through these things and solving them within 22 minutes. And it's so charming. There's so much heart and soul poured into that game. It's like obvious from the get-go. The devs are on a totally different level with what they did with that game. It's like it's this. You have so much wanderlust, and it's really scary because it's really tense knowing that everything's about to explode all the time, and the things are changing throughout those 22 minutes, like different planets and whatnot. But it's just a small little planet, a small little solar system, and there's different places you can go, and you have to play with physics. And I don't want to spoil anything. It's incredible. Like if you haven't played that game and you're interested in playing that game, all the reviews in Steam say the same thing. Do not read or watch anything about that game. You have to go into it blind. Like the spoiler that it's Groundhog Day is like that's in the trailer. They show you that it's Groundhog Day, so I'm not spoiling anything there. But don't look anything up. Don't watch anybody play it. Don't watch any videos. Go do it if that sounds like fun to you, because it's such a great game.
And what was the name of that last one again?
Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds.
I definitely want to play it as well.
That was a good pitch. That
at least
sounds really
just
fun.
from like what
it's so good.
From what you've told me, what the internet says, I gotta play it.
Yeah, and play with headphones too, and play really loud. It's like you. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Interstellar. I know Richie has, but like the sound part of it is what makes it so immersive when they're in space. Because when you're in a vacuum, there's no sound, and so like all the sounds are. It's really intense when you play with like really loud, like over ear headphones. It's awesome. It's so awesome.
Well, I can't wait to play it.
Yeah.
We got a super chat.
If it's half as amazing as you explain it, I'll be.
Trust me, you'll love it. You'll love it.
Drandoskin Miller super chats and says, "Hey, we see the lovely cast. Have a good steam." I think they meant stream. Thank you. Love y'all.
Sorry, that was a really long answer.
It was good. I like hearing
wonderful
about
answer.
games. Yeah, I like to hear about games I haven't played, because it's a good way to just learn about things I might have missed out on. So, before we go to Faith, same question to everybody in chat. List a game you played in the last year or two that was really good, and then we can maybe go through some of those comments. Anyway, over to you, Faith. What's a game in the past year or two, like a recent game you got into that you really enjoyed?
Here it comes. Dropped it earlier, but now we're going back to it. Spiritfarer people. Yeah. I don't do video game terminology, so I'm reading off of the internet here. It's described as a indie management sim and sandbox action game developed by a Canadian studio, which is really cute. So the art,
it's definitely they missed platformer in there. It's definitely a platformer.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, kind of.
The art is beautiful. The story's wonderful. I don't think I've ever cried so hard for a video game. I think personally, my theory is that whoever was helping develop the game and making the story was like definitely going through losing a loved one and kind of reconciling their grief and how to say goodbye and how to move on and how to kind of honor their memory, because that's very much like what the whole game is about at the end of the day. You're playing as the new Spiritfarer in terms of taking spirits across the River of Styx, which is what, Greek mythology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, right? Is that the name of the so you are taking the place of Sharon, the Spiritfarer, and so you are taking spirits on their final journey, kind of like across the river. And it sounds so dark, and it's not at all. It's super bubbly and pretty, and you have an animal companion, which is always a big plus in my book. You can play it multiplayer with the second player as the animal companion, which is kind of a neat twist. I played it solo through and through, although my original introduction to it was through Brandon, and we played around briefly in the 2-player mode. I personally think the solo mode's better because your options are limited as the animal companion, but it's just a really good story, and they do such a wonderful job developing the characters, because while you're kind of meeting them for the first time as the player, it's clear that your character in the game has already known these people, and so you're kind of coming in and being charmed by them, and all of your history with that character is being revealed, and they do a really beautiful job of kind of making you very attached to these characters very quickly, and then you have to carry them across the river eventually, and say goodbye to them, and it's like heart-wrenching every single time. It's wonderful. I don't think I've actually ever had that powerful of an emotional experience in any video game, so I would highly recommend it. But it definitely, if you are not up for the big sad, potentially, be warned. But it's really good. It's really, really good. And kind of an honorary side note for Ori and the Blind Forest as well. I played that a little bit, and personally, I found the puzzles to be more difficult than I was anticipating. I don't know if I'm just bad at puzzle games. That's a distinct possibility, but that's another great example of a story that gets you really attached to the characters, and the introductory scene, the setup for Ori and the Blind Forest is also stands out in terms of a really heart-wrenching beginning, and I definitely cried for that one too. Maybe I just cry a lot, but I did. And yeah, that's true. But I also found that game to be really charming. If you like puzzles, then go play it. And you like cute things, that's another bonus.
I think Ori's incredible. We have another super chat from Rosie who says, "Bop." And that is all.
Thank you, Rosie, for the super chat, and thank you, Faith, for sharing those good game suggestions.
As far as what people have been playing recently, we've got AJ saying the recent remakes of Pokemon on the Switch. Zanabrow said Elden Ring. Killjoy says Fall Guys and Mario Kart. Let's see. DeGusher said Multiverses. It's just like Smash Bros, but with Warner Brothers characters. I've actually heard of Multiverses. But
I saw that on Steam. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be good. I don't know.
If you like
it just
Smash
feels
Bros.
Like Warner Brothers. It basically just feels like Warner Brothers just trying to make a Smash Bros with all the properties they own, which they own a lot of. It's Warner Brothers. They have Looney Tunes. They have DC Comics, Scooby Doo. Everything. Literally everything. Warner Brothers. Here we go. EDMG super chats and says, since the pandemic made it hard to interact with people, Persona 5 Strikers was super cathartic for me. Very interesting.
It's
all right.
Not just Persona 5. Is that like a? Is it
it's
like
a spin-off. It's like I think it's like a sports spin-off of Persona 5. They have all kinds of Persona spin-offs. There's like Persona 3 Dance All Night or whatever, which is like a dance game based on which if you play Persona 3, those characters would never
dancing
just dance.
all the night too. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Safi says I've been playing Final Fantasy VI. Good choice.
Nice.
All right. So that brings us to our last question before I get to our bonus question. But our last regular question is, since a lot of gaming has to do with multiplayer stuff, what is your favorite multiplayer gaming memory? Or if you can't think of your favorite, you could say a memory that stands out to you.
Probably
you guys
playing
I can go first.
The basement of a friend while 16 of us linked up 4 Xboxes to play Halo.
Dang it,
2.
Richie stole mine.
Yes, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the days.
I'll just add on to what Richie said there, because I was going to say the same thing. The thing that made that magical is multiplayer back then in like the 90s. The most you could get was like 4 buddies on a couch playing a Nintendo 64 game doing 4-player split screen. The reason that a lot of those Halo LAN parties were magical was it was the first time all of a sudden you could link up 8, 12, 16 people doing a system link of 4 Xboxes, and you could have, like basically Cat5 cables stringing through the house and everybody playing games. So back then, because this was before online gaming really kind of took off. I mean, you could still do it, but it wasn't that good yet.
Slow and everybody had
so we're thinking like early to mid 2000s, like 2001 to, I don't know, 2006, 7, 8. Going over to a friend's house on the weekend, ordering a ton of pizza, Mountain Dew, Doritos, and just knowing like you were going to be locked in somebody's house for a couple days, getting real stinky, really like nerding it out playing Halo. Those were some of my absolute favorite memories. And I did a few with Rich, and Rich would basically go into character mode and pretend to be somebody and do like these impersonations. And one I remember that was hilarious, Rich, is you decided you were like Joe Pesci from the Mafia or something. So you started doing Mafia voice impressions every time you killed somebody. And I remember Rich would just randomly like win and he'd be like, hey, by the way, my wife Tammy says hi. That was a joke.
Chris,
it was really funny.
That was Halo 3 though when we were playing online.
Oh, we were doing online. Okay, yeah. So I guess.
But I was gonna say back in the Halo 2 days, I would still do funny voices, but it was just for the group of 20 smelly boys around me. Anyway. But yeah, once it got to Halo 3, it was just like I would troll the people I was playing with. It's like, yeah, that one's for my wife Tammy, eh? All right, who wants the pizza? Oh no, you're not in my house. You can't have one. Like, just fucking with them.
It was really fun times. Well, anyway, I guess yeah. Brandon, did you want to add any other, or did you want to just kind of write off that one?
Well, yeah, that's definitely one of the answers. We had the big screen TV in the living room and then a projector set up in the other room, and we would just do 4v4. I don't think I ever did a big like 8 versus 8, but yeah, I definitely did that. But no, without a doubt, there's 100 stories that I tell 100 different times in my life about what has happened in DayZ. Just because it made for really, really different experiences, because there's such long form, because it's just a persistent map. So, you can get into an encounter with another group of people and it will last hours. I remember one time my buddy Tyler, and it was just a 2-man LAN. I don't even know why we did this. He was in my room just with, like, I set up a table. Yeah. I don't remember why. We'll have to ask him. But him and I tell his story all the time. Like, people always ask, like, what's the craziest thing you guys ever did in DayZ? And he stayed the night, and like we got into this encounter with this other, I guess, clan of people. That there were these bullies. They were so mean. They called themselves Scrub Patrol. And every time they killed somebody, they'd go get scrubbed, and in side chat, because you could talk in all chat, like everybody could see what you were saying. And so they'd kill you and they'd say, get scrubbed. And they were so rude, and they were good. And there was a lot of them. And they had, the best thing in the game you could have was this armored car, because it was an armored car. You could drive wherever you wanted to and nobody could kill you. And so we set up this ambush basically on them, and we used like prop planes, because we learned that if you oh my god, Richie's bringing Kermit. If you use prop planes, we learned that you could turn off the engine and it would glide so people couldn't hear you. And so we had 2 people in prop planes like following this armored car around to feed us on the ground the information of where they were going. And we realized that they were heading to this bridge, which was the only place we knew they were going to get funneled into this bridge. So we set up this massive ambush and like put explosives down, and everybody came on the mountains and had machine guns and sniper rifles. And like this whole thing started at like 11 PM. And me and Tyler did not turn off our computers and lay down to go to sleep until 10 AM the next morning.
Holy smokes.
It lasted
so almost a 12-hour session.
Hours. Yeah.
Jeez. And did you guys scrub the scrubs? We
scrubbed the Scrub Patrol, and like
yes.
I actually have it recorded, but I'll never release it because we were young and our language and
not
choice of words is so inappropriate.
Totally understand.
I'm like embarrassed even now, because we were probably like 20, 21 years old or something. But in the side chat, the best part is they you can see who's dying, and you just see their names start racking up of like Scrub Patrol, and then because they have that Scrub Patrol on their name, so the Scrub Patrol X, Scrub Patrol Y, and it was like all of them just dying. And the like leader of it said, "I've never been owned so hard in my entire life," and we were like, that was all the payoff we needed.
That is so good.
And like literally, like we got back to our base, like looted all their stuff, got back to our base. I think we got into a skirmish with some other people that had heard the explosion and showed up. Finally got back, put all the loot in the tents, which is kind of how you store your stuff. And then like we turned our computers off, and me and Tyler turned around and just like high five. We were just like, "Oh my God, that was so insane." It's like hard to go to sleep even though it was 10 a.m. Like it was just the most insane. Yeah. And the story's, obviously extremely long, and it's just crazy story, but it was really cool. So
dude,
that has to take.
That makes me want to play that game. That was a great story.
The glory days are long since over. It's not the same anymore. Well, I'm sure there's probably some mods out there, but I imagine that not as many people play it as they did then. But there's like the Daisy standalone now, of course. So that's an option.
Very nice. Anyway. Well, thank you for sharing. That was a good story. Faith, Same question to you. Favorite multiplayer game memory, or a memory that stands out to you?
Well, favorite multiplayer game memory, I really, really enjoyed LANing. We had a setup in my parents' house where it was like 4 computers, right next to each other. That was just, kind of dad's hodgepodge parts that he put together, and just parts that he had saved over the years. And so he made them into 4 different machines that were kind of respective for everybody's personal machine, and just threw them in the bonus room. Richie knows what I'm talking about for sure. And we would set up on those computers, and it was me and Garrett and 2 other of his high school friends at the time, because Mason doesn't play very many video games. And we would, we played a little bit of Halo, but we did a lot of Battlefield 2. Yeah, those were some good times for sure, because the 4 of us would go and play Battlefield 2 on that
Bad Company
LAN setup. Is that what it's called?
Battlefield 2 was called Bad Company.
Okay.
Or did you play Battlefield 1942?
I don't think it was 1942. It was the Battlefield that...
Did you storm the beach of Omaha?
No. Okay. No. But we would always just play in the, LAN version. Did the Battlefield games even have like a story version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to.
I never played the story version because we were just landing. We were just in like a custom game or whatever. So it could have been, but I think it was Battlefield 2. Anyway, so that was amazing. That was my first time ever like participating in LAN, so that really stands out. And also, I think it was 2018 Winter LAN, babe. Golf with Friends, the original, doorman sniping people.
That would have been like 2016 or 17 when Doorman first started.
Oh wow. Yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah, he would just get owned. He couldn't win, so he decided to become part of the game where he would just shoot his golf ball into other people's golf balls, and he would like get to the end of the course where the hole is, and just like wait for people to get close to like make their last shot on the hole, and then he just hit you as hard as he could. Your ball would go flying.
And everybody's got their like electric blue or bright yellow, golf balls with party hats and baseball caps and whatever. And Doorman chose a black golf ball with a dinosaur skull on it. It's like by far the most intimidating.
The skull, you knew that you were about to get blasted into an
extinction event.
Yeah.
I remember laughing so hard over and over and over whenever he would successfully snipe somebody. And he was actually really good at it. But I was very surprised at how much fun Golf with Friends was as a LAN game. Disco Dodgeball was a hit as well in terms of, multiplayer. Just cheap and fun and dumb and the best of the best when you have, a bunch of kids at the LAN. So
Black Sails. Is that what it's called?
Oh yes, I totally forgot.
No. What's it
I
called?
think Black
Black
Sail.
Wake.
Black Wake. Oh
Was
my
a game that
gosh.
we land a lot, and it's like imagine Sea of Thieves, but you could just have multiple like different parties of people in boats
Oh,
shooting
that sounds fun.
at each other and repairing and reloading and boarding and slicing and oh my god, yeah, those are good
Trying
times.
to steer the ship and
Yeah.
just like impossible.
Just
lining it up for the
screaming.
one shot. Yeah.
I don't know how our
Ready.
like neighbors didn't call the cops
Fire!
because we were just screaming at the top of our lungs.
There was a lot of people at that land too, if
Yeah.
I'm remembering. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you could have like two boats with
totally
like
forgot
8
about
people
that.
on each boat, you know? So there's just like all the cannons are constantly firing. You still have people to repair, and you have one person. We're going to get a broadside shot here in a second. It's just awesome, dude. Awesome.
Good memories.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. That was good. I have a bonus question, and it can be quick. You guys ready for the bonus question?
Yep.
I'm
All right.
ready.
Here we go. What game have you sunk the most hours into? And I'm gonna give this 2 parts. Let's do recent because you could know on Steam, and then childhood because there are games that it's kind of hard to know. So, what game do you think you probably sunk the most hours into as a kid before we could track this stuff? And then recently, what game have you sunk the most hours into? Because I know Steam can say how many hours you played, and if you're playing WoW, you could do /played. So, I'll go ahead and I'll go first. As a kid, I'm pretty sure the game I played the most was Smash Brothers Melee, because that was through almost all of high school, the go-to. Bring this to your friend's place and just play Melee over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I would guess it was probably that. As far as recent, I think it's Fall Guys. I've put over 600, maybe 700 hours into it. The reason I say think is I played a lot of World of Warcraft as well. I kind of alternate back and forth between classic WoW and Fall Guys, but I stream Fall Guys as well as play it on my own. So I think it might tip it more toward it. So I'm going to say Fall Guys in recent years, and then Melee younger. Who wants to go next?
I'm gonna go next only because I don't want my answer to be the last one.
Good call, good call.
Brandon and Rich are the closers for sure. As a kid in elementary school, it would have to be Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. Put way too many hours into that game, and I have been feeling the itch again recently, and I might just have to play it again. That'll be great. And Space Cow level is the best. Don't fight me about it. WoW throughout middle school and high school for sure. No questions asked there. And then currently, it's got to be Fortnite. Been dumping hours into that, so and having a wonderful time doing it.
Yeah.
Now I hit my shots sometimes instead of no times. It's so fun.
Fortnite's good.
All right,
who wants
Brendan,
to go
you want to
next?
go next?
Sure. Yeah. I didn't get down like you guys did when I was a kid. I think before graduating high school, cumulative hours probably just the Halo series. But when I was thinking about it, what was the first game that that when you have that urge every time you get home that you're like, oh, I cannot wait to turn this back on. My first memory of that is actually Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Did not see that coming at all.
I think we got it out of a cereal box, no shit, a
Yeah.
little CD that I poked into my Comp USA PC. It was the only computer in the house. It was in the living room, and I had to fight with my brother for time. And my mom would grab the kitchen timer and literally time. Okay, you get 20 minutes, and then you have to let your brother play type thing, And we were just addicted to it. I don't know why. It's a really silly game. It's all cartoon, strips and really, really simple puzzle solving. But I remember coming home from school or being at school thinking I cannot wait to go play more Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. But yeah, cumulative hours, definitely Halo. Played a lot as soon as Halo 1 came out. Just before the towers fell, circa 99. And then on into high school. And And then outside of that, like modern, like my most hours sunk is definitely DayZ. Big surprise there. I think more recently I've played a lot of Fortnite, which is weird because I thought it was going to be a terrible video game for children, but it turns out that it is a terrible game for children, and it's also really fun. So we've been playing a lot of that. And then Kerbal Space Program, for sure. Kerbal Space Program, I put a lot of hours into. It's got to be up there on my top most played hours of my life. Me and Garrett get down on that game. It's really fun.
More than Rocket League?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I got to play Fortnite. And I only remember when I'm talking to you about it, because when I'm not talking to you about it, I completely forget that Fortnite exists, because I swear to myself a long time ago I would never play it.
I know. I did the same thing. And I keep telling everybody the story, but basically my friend who doesn't play video games at all, he moved in next door when I was in middle school, so I've known him forever. He moved to San Diego, and we still keep in touch, whatnot. But he got COVID during the pandemic, and he was like, he asked his wife to buy him a Xbox. He didn't know what to do with his time, and he called me and he said, "Hey, you play lots of video games. Can we play video games together?" And I was like, "Well, I don't play on Xbox, but there's some crossplay games." And he says, "Oh yeah, there's this game." like on the featured front page as soon as he turns his Xbox on. It's like, it's called Fortnite. Can we play that? And I was like, well, it is crossplay, but I'm definitely not playing that, And he begged me to play, and I reluctantly installed it and played it. And I wanted to be like, see, this game's dumb, but and I kind of denied it for the first 3 weeks. And he was like, cool, can we play again and again? And I was just like, yeah, this is dumb. And then I was like, all right, I admit it, this game's super fun. If you're a hater, trust me, you probably just haven't played it recently. I played it a long time ago when it got big, back when PUBG was huge, and it was a lot worse then for sure, but it's amazing. And they update it every 3 months. They completely redo a bunch of the stuff. So it's really fun, oddly enough. You definitely play against young kids, but it's super fun.
Yeah, Nacho Taco says, gross Fortnite. Please, Rich, don't play Fortnite. We can't lose you to the dark side.
Fortnite can be your mistress, Rich. You don't have to tell RMA fans that you're doing it.
I've been wanting to play it because it's it's the people that made Fortnite bought out the people that made Fall Guys, and Fall Guys is basically just chasing what Fortnite basically popularized. I've never played it, but I want to give it a chance at some point.
Well, my answer for most hours dumped into a video game, I would be lying if I said anything other than Skyrim, because I've played it completely on the PS4, on the PC, on the Switch, on the PS4 again when the new edition, the enhanced edition came out.
Which new edition? Yeah,
the one for smart refrigerators.
Exactly.
But I've beaten Skyrim at least I don't know, a dozen times, and also just spent way too much time exploring dungeons and caves and just falling off my horse while trying to climb a mountain, and trying to, get all the different, there's the celestial star map of all your enhancements, you know what I'm saying? And joining all the different guilds and stuff, fighting vampires, fighting werewolves, becoming a werewolf, just all the different things you can do in Skyrim. It's still, even though it's been 11 years now, it's still still definitely one of the best games ever made for sure. Elder Scrolls 6 will have a hard time getting anywhere close to it for sure. Definitely dumped. I don't even know if you'd counted them all up, but probably thousands of hours into Skyrim at least. But also, Minecraft. I've probably played a good amount of Minecraft as well. That's it.
I'm glad I don't have my hours tracked in that.
Rich, out of all the Final Fantasy games, which one do you think you played the most? Would it be 11, one of the MMOs?
Oh, well, I would probably 11 or 14, one of the MMOs, but for the single player, maybe 8, maybe 7.
Nice.
Final Fantasy 1 is the best.
Hot take right there.
All right. Well, that concludes all of my questions. So, with that said, I'll turn it to the chat. Since this is the first time we've ever done a podcast, did you guys enjoy this? It's a little bit different than our typical stuff. So, let us know in the chat. Did you enjoy this? And if we were to do something like this again, what other topics do you think would be interesting? We talked about video games just because I feel like we all had a lot to say about that. So leave a comment in the chat. Let us know. Did you like it? Would you like to see this again? What other stuff would you like us to talk about? And with that said, I guess we can kind of go to final thoughts. So Rich, Brandon, Faith, any other final thoughts on video games? Anything else you wanted to mention? Any other games you wanted to shout out or memories you wanted to share?
Crickets.
I like video games. Sometimes.
I like video games.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that time when we crawled over in the ocean with those barrels and then snuck up onto that guy's ship? And blew him up?
Yes, that was really cool. In
That was
fact,
awesome.
We got a clip of that somewhere. Yeah. Do you want to? Okay. Yeah. For those of you that didn't see it, did you want to just quick? Well, I guess you kind of explained.
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Did you-
basically,
It was good.
we had like a ton of treasure on our ship. Did we not? Did we have treasure on our ship?
I think
We
we
were
had to-
terrified.
Yeah, we didn't want to die because I think we had just gotten all those chests from one of those special events. Yeah.
And these people were chasing us and were really bad at PvP in Sea of Thieves. So we decided to do a little sabotage mission where me and Rich grabbed powder kegs and jumped off the ship and swam underneath the water looking for the hole of their ship to climb up their ladder. I think Rich just barely missed it, which turned out to be a great thing because he got to get the footage of it.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause He's
right.
like, oh, I missed it. And he turns around because I'm climbing up and I get to the top of this ship and I'm holding a barrel and there's a guy right there with a gun and he shoots me, but it shoots the barrel. So I explode, but his whole ship goes up in flames and Richie turns around just to see boom and his sail's on fire and everybody in Discord's like, yes! It was so amazing. It was so awesome.
Yeah, that was the best moment.
And the
I
thing
wish
that
we
made
could
that
have-
special was how tricky the timing was because the ship is coming straight at us, and you
Yes.
have like maybe a split-second window to hit the button to
Yeah,
climb
because
the
you
ladder.
don't see it. Like the water's
Yeah.
a little murky.
So it's like,
and you're
it's-
trying to stay low enough so that they don't see you, you know? Yeah, it was
so the,
really
the-
tricky.
The odds of pulling that off were very low. So the
Yeah.
fact that we did while on stream was just
awesome.
like icing on the cake. Nice. Rich, did you want to go through some of the comments? I saw some people mention like us talking about favorite movies or movie genres or TV
Yeah,
shows.
AK
Like,
said, absolutely enjoyed this. DeGusher said this was a lot of fun. A lot of people are concurring. Nacho Taco suggested favorite YouTube channels. Killjoy says movies. AK says next topic, food. DeGusher says, yes, I agree with Killjoy, movies. Killjoy said best clip, I think referring to the...
for that
yeah.
Sea of Thieves clip, yeah.
Tim Rogers says, please do more of these. Next topic, favorite film moments.
A lot of people want some movie stuff.
Yeah. DeGusher says movies, TV shows, food, and books.
Those
We
are
can
all good
definitely do
topics.
books
Books.
as long as Faith is here for books.
Books.
Actually, I've been really wanting to talk about some of the sci-fi books, but yeah, that's for another time. Anyways, I liked when one of you needed food and Chris found 2 bananas.
2 bananas.
All right. Well, I think that's just about it then. Hey, thank you guys for sticking around. I know that at the beginning we were kind of like, oh, we'll see. This lasted a lot longer than I thought it did. And I appreciate everybody sticking it out / forgetting the time. So,
Wow,
so
yeah,
thank you
hour and a
guys.
half.
Yeah. That's all I got to say. Who has final thoughts?
I guess I'll say thanks again, Brandon, Faith, for jumping in because we just kind of made this up and had no idea how it would turn out. But it was very fun hearing games I haven't tried yet that I want to try out now, and just hearing some of your guys' memories because a lot of those like special multiplayer events made me think of like fun stuff I did back in the day. But yeah, this was good. And by the way, when we end the stream, we can stay in this video grid and just chat for a couple minutes to debrief. Just wanted to mention that. But yeah, I enjoyed this. This was very fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, you've just watched a RichAlvarez production. Join us next time, as next time we probably do food, books, or movies, depending.
Could we get a
this
subscribe voice,
is
Rich?
great. Remember to please subscribe. It's free and easy, just like continuing to watch us. Hooray!
Just like scrubbing the scrubs in DayZ.
Real quick.
Nice.
Super chat from Killjoy says, congrats on podcast debut. Had fun. Thank you so much, Killjoy.
Thank you, Killjoy.
Thank you, Killjoy.
Thanks, KJ.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
And join our Discord.